I call the commission meeting to order. First order of business is Charles Rousseau is going to do the invocation and the pledge. Charles?
I'm just letting folks come on in
Yes, thank you.
and settle in. If you would join with me in whatever way you feel appropriate for a moment of silence while I offer opening invocation and prayer. Father God, we call on you this evening. We call on your mercy. We call on your peace, your power, and your presence in our lives and in our communities and in our nation. We pray for those families who have lost loved ones in the recent school shooting. We pray for the family of the police officer that lost his life at the CDC. We pray for our community that healing will be in the land. We just thank you for the gift of life that you've given to us. We ask that the greater good will be done for the least of these when our labor is finished this evening. We just thank you for this community. We thank you for all of those who serve honorably in various capacities. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Please rise.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Next item is acceptance of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion about the agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next item, proclamation recognitions. There are none there. And next item is public hearing. Deb?
Thank you. Debbie Bell, Director of Planning and Zoning. Thank you for your attendance at this public hearing conducted before the Fayette County Board of Commissioners. The Fayette County zoning ordinance requires 2 public hearings for amendments to the zoning ordinance. The first of the 2 hearings is held before the Planning Commission and the second before the County Commissioners. This is the second of those public hearings for the rezoning request presented today. At each hearing, the board will listen to the concerns of those in favor and those opposed to the cases being presented. These public hearings shall be conducted with 20 minutes provided for the applicant and proponents and 20 minutes provided for the opponents of an application for rezoning. An applicant may reserve part of the allotted time for rebuttal. Staff will present the details of the request. After the presentation, the chairman will ask for those in support of the amendment to come to the podium to speak, and then he will ask for those in opposition to come to the podium to speak. Those with comments should keep their presentations brief, and groups should select a spokesperson so many different viewpoints will have the chance to be heard. When it is your turn to speak, please tell the board your name and address and direct your comments directly to and only to the board. Since these hearings are part of a permanent record, we ask that you speak clearly into the microphone so your comments are properly recorded and can be heard by those in attendance. Please complete the speaker card located on the podium so your name is spelled correctly for the record. The first item tonight is consideration of petition 1364-25A. On August 12, 2025, the applicant submitted a request to withdraw this rezoning petition. So that is at the board's pleasure to decide on that request.
Dennis, you have comments?
The comment I would have, Mr. Chairman, is I understand that the applicant may have changed his mind. Is that the case?
Well, he ultimately has decided to withdraw the request this
Oh,
evening.
I apologize. So it's before the board to make a motion to allow the withdrawal if the board so chooses to do so.
Move to allow the withdrawal.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this?
Yes, just for clarification's sake, the application has to start over again, or can they
The application would have to start over again.
process?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Clarification, point of order.
Other comments or questions? All in favor of said motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 2, Debbie?
Item 2 was petition number 1364-25B. This is associated with item 1, and the applicant has also requested to withdraw the petition at this time.
Move to approve the withdrawal.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments on this? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Number 3, Debbie.
Agenda item number 3 is consideration of petition 1365-25, parcel 07240002, fronting on Coastline Road. Piper, Nicole Victoria Hill, and Edward Jean Gibbons Jr. owners request to rezone 53.81 acres from R70 single-family residential to AR agricultural residential.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a co-owner of this property, so I'm going to recuse myself from the vote, and if you would just let me know when it's time for me to come back in.
We'll do that. Thank you. So is the petitioner here? Well, I'll let,
You're going to pay for that later.
bless your heart.
Okay. The lot is a legal lot of record and will meet or exceed the requirements of the AR zoning district. The applicant proposes to rezone one parcel with a total of 53.81 acres from R70 single-family residential to AR agricultural residential for the purposes of uses under the AR zoning district. The applicant's long-range plan is to apply for a PUD PRL zoning for the purposes of developing a retreat and training center for veterans and their service dogs. Staff assessment and recommendation is that the future land use map designates this area as rural residential 2, which allows a maximum density of 1 unit per 2 acres. Since AR is a less intensive use, allowing a maximum density of 1 unit per 5 acres, the request to rezone to AR is appropriate and consistent with the future land use plan. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the request to rezone to AR. On August 7th, 2025, the Planning Commission voted 3-1 to recommend approval of the request to rezone to AR. If you'll pull the maps up for me, please. So this is located in the northwest portion of the county where the green star is. You can see that it is currently showing a split zoning because the map needed to be updated. A portion of the parcel at one point was part of the town of Tyrone, and it was de-annexed in 2021. This is the future land use map, which shows most of the area as rural residential 2 with some environmentally sensitive areas, which we'll see in more detail in a minute. This is the environmental map, which illustrates wetlands and floodplain on the southwestern portion of the property. And then this is an aerial view of the property. I left the floodplain on so that you could get an idea of what that covers. And then a topographic map of the property showing the area. Coastline Road is to the right, I'm sorry. And then here's a survey of the property. So that's all I have at this moment.
Okay. So Piper, if you'd like to come. Welcome.
Thank
Glad to have you this evening.
you, gentlemen, commissioners, and thank you for my opportunity to speak with you about my zoning request. I'm going to start, I have something written here that's pretty short, but I'm going to start with this for you guys, and if there's any people from the community here about the property that maybe are not happy with it. But I'm the first female injured, wounded warrior in both wars, and when I was injured, I was still active duty, obviously, and there was no programs for me. And everywhere I went in the Army with my husband was a higher headquarters. So there was no one there, just me. And I had absolutely no help at all. I mean, I had help from my husband, and I had help from a wonderful dog that stayed by my bed for 5 years. I have a traumatic brain injury, and I don't remember 4 to 5 years of my life, but I remember that dog that stayed by my bed. At some point, I taught the dog to go get medicine for me out of the bathroom. I had gone blind. I was in a wheelchair, and I didn't know my name, and my family was told I had 2 months to live. So out of that injury, I think God has been involved in my whole journey in life, but out of that injury, I started Healing for Heroes. Now I'm going to read what I have for you, but we train service dogs, and it's not just about dog training. There's a lot more to it. Everything that I used to get better, because I had no tools to help me, I provide in some way, shape, or form to the veterans that come to our program. We're the only service dog company in the country that does mind, body, soul. Everybody else is just dog trainers. But the veterans that come to me, they get brain nutrition, they get nutrition. We have counselors on staff. I lost my train of thought, but we do more than just dog training. We're like a little support group for both veterans and first responders. We help civilians as well. I don't want anybody to ever go through what I went through and feel like nobody cares and gets discarded, because that's how I felt. I loved my job in the Army. I loved serving this country, but I felt very thrown away. So if there is somebody that I can reach out and help with something as simple as a dog or nutrition to get going in their life and go forward, then I'm gonna do it if I can. If they know about us, I'm gonna do it, and we do it for free. Okay, I'm gonna read this to you. Healing for Heroes is we're a national nonprofit. Not all nonprofits are national. We're a national nonprofit right here in this county. We're dedicated to improving the lives of those in need. Our committed team of volunteers and professionals have a dual purpose, serving our community by helping active duty military personnel, first responders, veterans, and family members, as well as local animal shelters by rescuing suitable dogs for training. Our clients and their families are able to move forward, living more productive lives after being wounded both physically and/or mentally with the assistance of service dogs, while the lives of at-risk shelter dogs are saved by becoming trained service companions. And at this point, I'm going to ask what everybody that's here that has gotten help from us in support of this project, please stand. Or wave your hand if you can't stand. You could have just waved, Steve. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Another thing that you may not know is Healing for Heroes is one of the top 3 rated veteran nonprofits in the nation, and we're rated #1 in the state of Georgia. We're rated by military.com and Great Nonprofits. So you can read stories about veterans, their children, and people in the community, civilians, and first responders that have received service dogs from us. You can read them there. There's a lot of great stories. There's over 211 stories on Great Nonprofits. We're also the only service dog organization listed in that ranking. The zoning request before you is aimed at providing a safe and tranquil environment for 1-week training classes held approximately once every month. Currently, we have no permanent facility in which to conduct training, relying on other organizations to provide a venue. This limits our outreach as we are scheduled dependent on facility availability. In addition to a training facility, we have clients that lack the funding to pay for lodging during training, a cost currently bore by Healing for Heroes. I would eventually like to be able to provide temporary lodging on site for these clients so that we can so that we are not expending funds for this purpose. Our clients have all volunteered to serve their country and their communities, or are their families of those they served. I'm asking for your favorable consideration of this zoning request that will allow this organization, Healing for Heroes, to enhance the service we provide on their behalf. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Since this is a public hearing, if there are those in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this rezoning, you can certainly come to the mic and voice your comments at this time. There is a time limit and the clock is running, so you have, yes. So save a little bit of time for some rebuttal, please.
Hello, I'm Athena Feliciano, and I live at 413 Larry Lane in Adairsville, Georgia. And if you don't know where that is closer to Chattanooga, Tennessee, than it is where we are currently, all right? So like she said a moment ago, she helps everyone nationwide. So Healing for Heroes has literally saved my life multiple times. I was on death's door when I came to the organization. So just let me tell you a couple of injuries that I had, and these are just a couple I had, and the people that she serves has seen more than me. So I was stabbed, I was thrown off a cliff, I was blown through a wall, I had a surgery where meds didn't go through. It was an emergency surgery. That emergency surgery left me with nerve damage. So sometimes I get paralyzed. My dog helps me walk. My dog will let me know when that is about to happen. That's crazy, right? They will pick me up off the floor if I actually fall down. They will keep me from falling down on the floor. Now, with being smashed and all that stuff, I have multiple TBIs. So if you have TBIs, guess what? You have memory loss. So with memory loss, who here has forgotten their phone ever? Yeah, so if you forget your phone, you're definitely going to forget it without your memory. And guess what? It's hard to call 911 without it. So my dog has definitely got my phone for me, helped me call 911. Being stabbed, I have hurt several organs, so my body tries to kill myself about once a year on average. And so I've taken about a yearly hospital ride with my dog in the ambulance. So this is stuff that my dog has helped me with. They also let me know when I'm going to have a seizure, because I get seizures. I was stuck at home for a really long time because I was afraid to live my life. I'm a parent of 2 kids. With my dog, I can go shopping. I can, take them to the park. I'm not afraid of doing those things. So, all right, that's all I like to say.
Thank you, Athena. Yes, ma'am. Next.
Good afternoon. Thank you for hearing me. I just wanted to just speak out in favor, and I'm probably going to be emotional, so excuse me. My son, I'm a veteran, my husband's a veteran, and I have a child that is on the spectrum, and he's turning 13, or he is 13 now, and unfortunately, he is, my summer has involved me going to camp, so I have had to be in every experience that he's had, because he can't do this on his own. He's very high functioning, very social, you wouldn't know that, but he does deal with emotional elements, anxiety. He'll start to foster into anger, and then it can erupt into something a little bit more serious than that. And so my concern was he's got to be a functioning member of our society. He has a lot to give and offer because he's very bright, and how do I do that? Mom can't be with him for the rest of his life, right? And so I was desperately looking, and when you look at the organizational costs, I'm a public servant, I'm a school teacher. I've almost done it 29 years plus, and so the funding for it was over $5,000 for me to be able to do that. That wasn't happening. And I just really prayed. I said, please provide an opportunity. So this organization came along, found it, connected. It was an immediate godsend for me. Not only did it provide an avenue and opportunity for my son to feel accepted and that he had a security besides his mom, but it also provided him with the tools that he needed, but it also provided him with a community that there's other people that are like him, that are other people that he's not as different as other people would look at him and think he is different. It brought relief to this mom who feels very alone a lot of times. When you get stares at people from the in the grocery store and different things because they don't know why you're handling the kid the way you're handling them. But until you've experienced a child with special needs, you don't understand that. And so this organization brought me that community, that I'm okay, and that they're there to step in, and that they understand me processing through whatever needs to happen for my child. And so now I feel like I'm at least preparing him and equipping. It is not the end. It is just the beginning of a wonderful journey for him to have his dog with him. Our dog is actually a rescue dog as well. We got him 4 months before this opened up for me. He's an amazing little guy. He's a puppy too, so we're all in training in the family, learning how to manage, but he has done so well already without even the bonding that has happened. If my child walks away from me, Max is right there with him, going after him. If I separate Max from him, he doesn't like it, and so there's already that bond that allows him that ability. So again, thank you. Please consider this opportunity. It is a worthwhile opportunity. It is a saving place for a lot of people that has no place.
Right. Thank you. Yes, what is your name and address, please?
Sorry, Susan Hall and 335 Glade Knoll Trail.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Susan. Next.
I'm here today because Helping for Heroes saved my life. I recently moved to this community from Indiana where there's not a lot of resources like Helping for Heroes. I'm not actually a veteran, but my husband is. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a brain tumor survivor. And because of Helping for Heroes and the support that they've given me and becoming a family to me, I've been able to become a member of the community that's not just surviving, but thriving. I'm a school teacher here now. I'm able to go through my day and help students that aren't able to be out in the general ed population because of their needs, and be able to help them so that they can become thriving and members of our community also. So without this organization, there will be a lot of that at a disservice. So please consider this opportunity to provide more services to members of our community that deserve and need them greatly.
Thank you. Can you tell us your name and address, please?
Yes, Brandy Spore. I live at 270 Highview Trace, Fayetteville.
Thank you. Are there other comments? These are in favor of the rezoning. Yeah, we're down to 8 minutes. Let's save that so you can have a chance to rebuttal. So now, if you'll reset the clock to 20 minutes, please. If there are those in the audience that would like to voice opposition to this rezoning, if you would come at this time and yes, you can come on up and line up on the wall if you like.
Good afternoon. I'm Tammy Williams. I live at 115 Ellens Ridge.
Let me just remind one thing. We got a 20-minute time limit, so we got a bunch of people. Be brief, please. Thank you.
will.
Thank you.
I would like to thank the committee for having us here today. I'd like to remind everyone that this opposition is not opposed to the work that's being done here, but it's about the land. And if you look at the maps that have been shown, that land butts right up against our backyards. And what I've heard here so far is that, you know, the work that's being done treats individuals that may experience anxiety and anger and memory loss, and that they're training new dogs. And we are concerned about that in our backyards, that individuals may wander into our yards, that dogs may wander into our backyards. We are also concerned, as people that have put a lot into our neighborhood and our property, about the value of our property if something like this moves in, when we really established that property because of the zoning requirements that are there. So we implore you to deny this request.
Thank you. They're nice.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Sterling Patterson. I live at 100 Ellens Ridge in Ellens Ridge community. I'm here today to express my opposition to the proposed rezoning of this land. While the applicant stated intent for the development and retreat and training center for veterans, I think is admirable. I think they're a great organization that's doing great things. But my concern is about the broader implications of rezoning this land. When rezoning this land, it permits a wide array of conditions used that are incompatible with the residential characteristics of the Ellens Ridge subdivision. It includes, outdoor shooting ranges, commercial events, and other high-impact developments, potentially. The proximity of the parcel to the backyards of Ellens Ridge residents makes the potential for disruption, noise, traffic, safety risks especially acute. Once rezoned, the property could be used for any of the conditional purposes listed under the AR zoning, regardless of the applicant's current intentions. And also, if the property was resold, it's now rezoned, and then the new owner can use it for whatever purpose that falls within that list. So for me, this is not a opposition to the cause of what the owners are trying to do, but it's the opposition to the rezoning of the land that affects my neighborhood and my home itself. So furthermore, I just ask that you consider declining this request for the good of the community. And the other thing is that I just want to add, this property is surrounded by residential neighborhoods now. And so to change that now would not fit the future, and it will definitely impact our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sterling. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa McLeod. I live at 360 Ravenna Trail, and these are some of my neighbors overall. So I'm coming to you today respectfully and urging you firmly to deny the rezoning petition of 1365-25. At first glance, it appears to be a downzoning, but in reality, it's just making it more ambiguous of what we can do or what they can do. If they decide to sell the land at some other point in time, and don't get me wrong, I understand the value that they feel in regards to that. However, in the area that they're trying to do it, it is not going to help us as a community. It's not preserving anything for us. It is literally just creating a loophole for somebody else to buy it, create other things that are not going to go ahead and preserve what we have gone to learn and grow and love within Fayetteville. I not only live in Fayetteville, but I work in Fayetteville for the university systems in Georgia. I mean, doing this, they have no site plan in real life, no infrastructure plan in real life, no public commitment to conservation, land stewardship, environmental protection. The zoning itself has no guardrails approving this. The 53 acres without conditions, it can enable all types of patchwork and uses for agricultural to real estate to all types of event venues that is going to ruin the small, quaint community that we know and love in that area. At the end of the day, this is just a way for them to create a loophole. I'm a mother who also has neurodivergent children. Them having other things in this area is not going to be conducive for them. I work here, I live here, my kids go to school here. And this is not something that we should be doing for our community. They can put it someplace else. It shouldn't be here. I encourage you to deny this request at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Audrey Wilson, and I live on 110 Ellens Ridge. So the property that's under consideration will deeply affect the quality of life and the value of my home. I currently have been a resident of Fayetteville for 5 years, and when I think about the future state of the rezoning, it really frightens me to death. My husband is a veteran. We moved to the area because of the safety of that area, the value, the community involvement. We're very involved in the community. I volunteer at the Midwest Food Bank, at church, and it's a noble cause. My husband is a veteran. He's not disabled, so we're proud Americans. I just want the zoning committee to really think about the future state of the county and the community. If you put a project of this size, of 53 acres, without any borders or boundaries or restrictions, or how it's going to impact the current community, is very frightening to me as a taxpayer. So it's a worthy cause. I think the need for this is valued somewhere else in the community. To think about individuals with PTSD, with seniors and children in the community without any security factors in mind is very frightening. So I want you to think about holistically how it affects the community. Not a small group of people, but you know, we live in a subdivision that has over 100 plus residents, and it's only growing. So really, if you drive by the community, see the quality of the homes, how involved we are as residents, I think you'll get a better idea of versus this map that doesn't tell you the whole story of who we are as people. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Garrett Davis. I live at 445 Ravenna Trail. If we would, for a moment, any residents that actually live in the community, would you all please stand? Thank you. Now, with me, having lived here for 14 years, and I'm not in opposition. I am a veteran. And what the purpose what purpose will retreat and training center that include service dogs benefit our community? And when I've written here, a retreat and training center that includes service dogs can benefit the community in several ways. Support individuals with disabilities. Service dogs are trained to help people with visible and invisible disabilities. They perform tasks that increase independence, emotional well-being, and participation in community life. Enhance emotional and psychological health. The Human Canine Bond offers emotional support and psychological benefits such as reduced depression, anxiety, and stress. Interacting with service dogs can improve quality of life for both users and participants in the retreat. Promotes community participation. I'm looking at the pot on the thing so it's not saying it's just against what's trying to be done. And so the service dogs encourage greater social involvement, enabling individuals with disabilities to engage more fully in community activities, employment, and social events fostering inclusion and diversity. Educates and raises awareness. Training centers and retreats often provide resources and educational programs for public, employers, and emergency responders that need the rights of people with service dogs, creating more aware and accommodating community. It reduces dependency on other forms of care. Having a service dog can reduce the need for paid or unpaid caregiver hours and medication, and some individuals lightening the care burden of families and wider community. Healing and rehabilitation, and build social bond. Yet, just because these are benefits that a community can benefit does not mean that the benefits can benefit every community. A retreat and training center that includes service dogs can offer general benefits, but these do not apply to our community. Several factors convey this position from my perspective, including two, but not limited to, community needs and demographics. The members in the community are not in agreement with it. The community has no populous population of residents who need service dogs or demand a retreat or training services. Thereby, the center does not provide the potential benefits within our community. Resource allocation. The center will use land that is not in alignment with that of the community itself and community attention that is focused towards community values and values. Possible negative impacts is that the applicant plan will create potential disruptions and safety concerns, leading to incidents that might negatively affect individuals and property value. Cultural and social fit. The individuals within this community do not embrace the presence of the purpose of the applicant, which will feel deeply impacted by its establishment. Limited awareness of interest. Community members are as recognized by attendance. I'm going to say that again. The community members, as recognized by attendance, do not interact with service dog users or participate in relevant programs, perceive no benefit from the center. In summary, while the retreat and service dog training centers provide important and sometimes substantial benefits within a community, the benefit is not warranted. Our community makeup, needs, and openness determines whether and how much the services of value are impacted to it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Garrett? Mr. Garrett? My name is James Johnson, Pastor Johnson, retired. I moved here after 40 years of working on my job, and I invested in this community. First of all, I'd like to say it's a blessing to be here, and I admire the lady her endeavor is to do something for veterans and to help people out. I do not disagree with that. I just came today to say that I do disagree with the neighborhood that they chose to do it in. I moved here 12 years ago. I invested 40 years of working to get here. And in my 40 years, when I bought my property, I made a 30-year investment. There's no guarantee that what they're going to do with the property, if you guys award them the zoning permission, in 5 or 10 years, they could be growing hogs or cattle or anything. It's agriculture. They could do what they want to do back there. I'm asking that the committee would allow them to do it, but do it elsewhere, not in our neighborhood. I'd just like you all to know that I thank you for your time. My name is Reverend Johnson. I live at 100 Browning Court in Fayetteville. All right?
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Next.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. Sorry, I work so much I don't even know what time it is. I'm sorry. My name is Charles Wilkerson. This is really emotional for me. First of all, I appreciate everybody for their service. I actually take care of veterans. It's my job. And I take care of kids with special needs as well. So when I found out about this, I was kind of a little devastated because it took me a long time to get to Ellens Ridge. I looked at the lot 40 times. I cleared it was nothing but trees, and I built from the ground up. I look at my tax bill and I'm in awe that somebody can actually charge me that much without at least coming and saying hello to me. And I appreciate everybody coming out from Adairsville, and I appreciate you guys, and I love the fact that your family sacrificed for this nation. I do. And I take care of our vets almost daily. Problem I have is considering how much I pay in taxes and I feel like the lack of representation that we have is just unbelievable. I just want to say that, considering, some of us, we pay a significant amount of taxes, and this is not the right place for us. This is not the right place for this facility, because I don't think we get like any rebate or anything for the tens of thousands or whatever that we're going to lose. So please do not vote for this, okay? Because you guys represent us. You guys are supposed to protect us. We live here, and we need you to stand up for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Good evening. I'm Ebony Batson Hurst. I live at 365 Ravenna Trail, Fayetteville, Georgia, and I am a long-standing resident of Fayetteville, Georgia, as well as Peachtree City. I grew up here. I came back here after college because of the community, because of the residential culture, the family atmosphere that I was expecting. I left for 2 years after I got married, but my husband and I decided to move back here, not just for the land or the house, because we can get that anywhere. We moved back for the culture, for the property, and for the house that we chose to build so that we can continue to grow our family in a community that I expected to look like it did 36 years ago. And we all know Fayette County has changed in 36 years. However, what I would like to say is that I do appreciate the veteran service. I have an uncle, I have a father, I have an aunt, numerous family members who are veterans. I also have a dog that was trained as a service dog because I have a disability and I am a patient at Shepherd Center. However, there is a time and place for everything, as my dad always told me. The place, it might be the time, but the place is not in my community. I feel that when I purchased the property, my husband and I, the property was not zoned as agricultural. I expect that as I continue to live at the property, pay taxes at the property, and my willingness to come back to Fayette County, to pay money to the county, to be a long-standing resident, for my child to be a long-standing resident, for my family members, we own additional property in Fayette County, we own additional homes in Fayette County, and we expect additional services from our representatives here in Fayette County. And one of those things is to keep our community the way it looks, a family-safe resident. And so please turn down this rezoning.
Thank you. Ms. Search.
Hey, my name is George Fields, and I reside at 405 Ravenna Trail. I've been there since 2009, so all this growth that's taken place over the last several years, I've witnessed and been a part of. One, I'm a 28-year veteran, and I worked in the community, middle school, high school. But what I want to say is one thing that this lady said when she came up was she found a tranquil place for this establishment. Think about that. She found a tranquil place. That's my tranquility. That's my tranquility. I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran advocate. I have nothing against what you guys want to do, but not at the sake of my tranquility. Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Good My name is Leonard Cason. I live at 165.
Speak into the mic.
My name is Leonard Cason. I live at 165 Buckhorn Trail. I have lived there for 24 years. I am the son of a 22-year retired vet. I lost a brother on duty in the Coast Guard, lost another brother after Vietnam, who a program like this would have been perfect for. I'm a 7-year Army vet. Almost everyone I know, my close friends, my oldest friends are Army vets. I have a son who trains dogs, and speaking with him, you have to make them desensitized to sound, whether it's with gunshots, whatever. So if a car backfires, the dogs don't overreact. I have a concern about, maybe the noise and even the odor. Our neighborhood was traumatized in '06 with Phillips Service Corp and a chemical. They were supposed to be waste chemical, and we had an onion smell in the neighborhood. At first, thought it was wild onions and all, until people started getting sick, and that's when we realized where it was coming from. They did do a settlement and all of that without claiming for some of the damage, even loss of animal lives for some of the folks there. So my thing is, I'm all for what you do, 100%, 1,000% I am. I just don't think that our area is the appropriate area for it. I'm a dentist, and everything we do is about prevention. It's better to prevent than to try to correct afterwards. And that's the reason why I don't think that this is the right area for that, because we don't know what we'll be faced with later on trying to correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, I got 48 seconds left. My name is John Culbreth, and I live at 170 Buckhorn Trail, Fayetteville, Georgia. I've been there for 23 years, built the house from ground up. We believe that this is the wrong place, although it's the right cause. Wrong place, but the right cause. And I believe that if you would look around, you could find other land that you can have this same facility. I believe in veterans. I believe in veterans program. I've been active in my church in veterans programs. So there's nothing against veterans. There's nothing against training of the dogs to help veterans. But this is the wrong place. It abuts the neighborhoods that's going to cause issues that we didn't have before. And I believe that if we ask this board to approve this, that it will be against the neighborhood itself, the taxpayers of Fayette County.
Thank you. Can you set the clock? So I'm going to take one more, this lady here, I'm going to let her speak, and if you'll set the clock where we can give.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, since we advised those in favor of that they needed to keep time on the clock for rebuttals, those who are against it have run out of time, and so are there others who want to speak in opposition is my question. And I'm not trying to change the clock, but we did advise those who were in favor to keep time on the clock, so I want to be fair to everyone in the audience. Are there anybody else? Is there anyone else? Or you're the last? Okay, I'm good with that then.
Okay, we're going to let you speak, but be quick, please.
I'll just make it really quick. My family and I moved here from Midtown, and we came here because it's such a beautiful community, and we want to stay that way. My husband, he's working, but he just wrote this down just really quick. I'll read it. I want to express my opposition to the rezoning request for Coastline Road. While I deeply respect our veterans and care for them as an emergency physician, I believe this rezoning poses significant risk to the safety, stability, and character of our neighborhood.
Nope.
Changing the zoning opens the door to a wide range of conditional issues, none of which are compatible with a quiet, single-family residential community like Ellens Ridge. Approving this request would set up precedents that would erode the integrity of our neighborhood, reduce the quality of life for homeowners who choose this area specifically for its residential nature. I respectfully urge the commission to deny this rezoning.
Thank you.
Aaron McClendon, Medina.
Thank you. Okay, so that was So Piper, do you have you have opportunity for rebuttal? I think it was 8 minutes and something, is that correct? Yep, 8:16, thank you, Marlena. Okay.
Okay, I wrote down some stuff to go over. So I'm just going to tell you, I love nature. I'm from Louisiana. I love the water. I love the swamp out there. The lender didn't want to lend to me because of the swamp. I'm not cutting down the trees. I'm only going to do 1 acre of land on this entire piece of property. So I'm going to say that first. 1 acre of land, you can laugh all you want, but I'm doing 1 acre of land.
Okay.
You can talk later.
Okay.
1 acre of land, and we're building a house. It's not, I've had a builder say, let's build this thing from Home Depot. It's this big, ugly hunting lodge. I said, I am not building a big, ugly, do I look like I like ugly stuff to you? I like pretty stuff. I'm building a house. I think it's beautiful. We're going to use the great room for training. So I'm going to say that. People talked about their property value. The thing that hurts the property value by us is the trailer park that is on the other side of Ellen Ridge. That is what hurts the property value. Zach Brown, when he built his multifunctional property, the houses around his, his veteran village tripled in price since he has built it. So that's another thing, and it's beautiful if you've been out there, it's beautiful. People are talking about safety and security. I have policemen in every class. My head trainer is a canine police officer. I have policemen that come through the program. I was a safety officer for all of Fort Stewart. That is 45,000 people. So I do the right things before people even get allowed into the program. I'll talk about the veterans allowed into the program. The VA sends me the people that come to our program. So these are not, it's not even PTSD anymore. In the beginning, when I founded the program, it was a lot of PTSD. We have over 2,000 clients. Now it's aging diseases. So it's diabetes, heart disease, POTS, which mostly women have. And since I said women, more than half of my clients are female. 60% of my clients are female. And I'm going to tell you the highest suicide rate, Department of Defense wide, is the black female. That is, so most of our females are black females. That is your highest suicide rate, and nobody helps them. Nobody. The #1 suicide rate is the single mother black female, and if you remember that veteran that was somewhere downtown that shot her children and herself, I could have helped her. They don't usually get to me though, because those are the veterans that go inpatient somewhere. I get people that are well on their way to getting better. And I don't just help veterans though, I help first responders and I help people in this community. So let me put on my glasses because I figured out the number, because they said it's not going to help their community. Out of the over 2,000 veterans that we've helped and the 136 children with disabilities we've helped, that has put 9,516 people it's affected and put money back into this community or the communities that they have gone back to work, volunteer, or do stuff. I served in the Army. Most people that are veterans, they continue to serve. Almost everybody here is either a veteran or a veteran spouse, and I have a couple of civilians, and we're all still serving for free. We're doing it for free. I don't want anybody to be discarded because they have a heart condition or they have diabetes, or like Miss Susan and Evan. He was the sweetest kid, and I saw what she went through, and it just broke my heart. It really did. Veterans have a 20% higher chance of having a child with a disability than the average American. And we realized that about 2 to 3 years in the program, because veterans would come to the program and I'd say, bring your kids, bring your spouse, bring your dog if you have one, because we want it to fit. And I noticed there were so many children on the spectrum coming, and sometimes veterans would leave and the dog would go, forget you, and go help their child. And so then I opened it up to children. Let's see what else they talked about. It's going to be a controlled development. I said that. It's going to be 1 acre. Let's see, with a house. Somebody talked about the hog farm. Before the property was bought, it was a hog farm, just so you know. I find hog and cow bones all the time on the property. That was the Shropshires. They owned it at one time. Actually, they couldn't be here. They own the house right next to me, and the gentleman that's across the street, they're both still at work. They sent you letters. But we've been out there with 40 veterans with dogs, and nobody has ever complained at all. In the 6 years I've owned this property, there's been not one complaint since we've been out there. Dangerous dogs. I'm lazy. I put people around me that are very detail-oriented and do stuff. I have a limited amount of time, so I'm not going to pick a dangerous dog to train. I'm going to pick the most adoptable dog at the shelter because it's going to be the easiest and the fastest to turn around. I don't like dealing with dangerous dogs. I've been bit by more Chihuahuas than any pit bull, any Rottweiler, any Doberman. But I'll take a good pit bull. Where's Josh? Over there. That guy showed up at my fishing camp in Louisiana during a flood, and I said, dude, I'm turning you into a service dog. Now, I will tell you, the first 2 weeks he was there, I was scared to death that he was going to bite me because it's a big black pit bull. He's the best dog ever, but I'm not going to go to the shelter and pick Fufu that wants to eat your face off and turn it into a service dog. It's just not going to happen. I don't like getting bit. I don't want anybody else to get bit, and they can't be service dogs anyway. Property value, I talked about Zach Brown's place. I talked about the trailer park. So those neighborhoods were built by an established trailer park. We help veterans, first responders, civilians, and people with disabilities. If you're disabled, I'm going to help you, period. It's just the way I was raised. Somebody was talking about possible shootings. There's already an illegal hunter. There's poachers on that property right now that shoot in the direction of every house there. I have run them off more times than I can tell you. The sheriff gets tired of me calling. But we were out there working, Josh and I and a couple men were out there working on a little cabin container building, and they were shooting in our direction, and we had to get behind it and had to call the sheriff. So they're out there all the time illegally poaching. They're worried about dangerous dogs. There are more than 35 boar on that property. There was over 60, but boar's super dangerous, so we have brought that population down, and then there's 7 coyote dens. A coyote will snatch your cat or your children in a heartbeat. I think us being there is going to help things be more safe anyway, because it's going to run off a lot of those animals. Noise, the house that I'm building, I don't like noise. The planning and zoning, I talked about the neighbor behind me. It's her 5th set of dogs. They're horrible. They bark all the time. They try to bite people. I've offered to train every set she's had. I don't know why she keeps getting mean dogs, but she does. She won't let me. So I don't like barking dogs. I can't stand it when mine barks. So when we build the building, I'm going to double insulate where we train. People that come to train their dogs, they're taking their dogs with them. They're not going to stay in the building. They're going to go with them. I will have kennels, though, that hold dogs, but it's going to be inside the building. It is not going to be outside the building. I don't like being a nuisance. I don't like making noise. That's just what I had planned to do. Opportunity to sell. I've been approached 3 times to buy that property, and one of the people that wanted to buy it was the data center. Maybe I was dumb for not selling it for $2.6 million for the data center to come in and mow down all the trees, but I didn't sell it because I think that property is beautiful, and I intend to keep it that way. Sorry, I got a little excited. I'm more nervous than anything, but I think that's all I have. Security, I talked about 3 of my trainers are policemen. And like I said, I was a security officer. I shoot pretty good. If somebody is going to do something bad, somebody's going to take care of it. But we have not even had that ever happen since I started in 2008. We have nothing like that happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Piper. Okay. So lots of input, a lot of comments. We appreciate everybody's interest in this. Are there comments from the board or questions?
I'll make some comments and maybe some questions, and I apologize, I'm thinking as I'm talking. So you guys aren't the only ones who get nervous when you're up there, and we do it up here too. And when I have to figure out, do my Solomon Act, it doesn't always work as efficiently as it did for the old king. I heard a lot of comments this evening from a lot of people who love their community. And I didn't hear anything that I really disagree with. There's a few things in here. I think sometimes we look for reasons, but everybody genuinely is very interested in what's going on. I don't think we've ever had anything quite like this come to us. And I'm trying to come up with negatives. There will be some, but I'm trying to come up with negatives. It sounds like, I'm thinking here, we just, maybe 2 years ago, We approved a drug rehab facility on Highway 54 in a residential area, and there haven't been any issues there that I've heard of. I know people are concerned about property values, but every time our tax bill goes out, nobody complains about their property values going down. I've never heard that. I really honestly think that property values go up in Fayette County. It's just a question of how much they go up and when they go up. But I know I'm paying a lot more. I'm trying to really come up with some reasons why I need to say no. I think this operation has been operating for how many years?
2008.
Since 2008. I don't know. I know that if this property was developed for homes, you'd have more homes and probably more barking dogs on that property than you have now. None of these dogs have barked here. I'm not sure they're all breathing. They're just sitting there on the ground. It's very difficult, but I guess I'll take the chairman's position right now. Right now, all the public comment is over. We're just asking questions and trying to formulate our own response and how we should proceed with this. But I'm giving you some thoughts that are going through my mind. One thing that the county does is always try to reduce density, and going to an AR zoning from an R70 reduces the number of homes that could be built on that property, reduces the density. We can never control what's going to happen on the property. We try, and we'll have regulations. The county has regulations to build, and whatever would have to be constructed there would have to follow the rules that we set down. Any activity has to follow the rules we set down. So I'm thinking right now that there's many good things, and everybody has made good comments this evening. So if I sound like I'm hesitating, it's because I am, because everybody's made good comments tonight. And in about 2 minutes here, I'm going to have to make my own decision. But those are the thoughts going through my mind, and I just would like everybody to know what is there when I finally do decide. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Charles?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my colleagues. I appreciate very much the residents showing up and expressing their level of concern regarding the proposed rezoning of the property. And rezoning, it does create heavy, intense use that is inconsistent with what a residential community currently exists of. And so, what was it, Mr. Wolfson, is he still here? Was that your name? I've been in your community several times. I've have relationships with many of your community members. The next time I'll stop because the tax is so high and say hello to you. Yeah. We'll do that. And perhaps you were at work, but the intensity in changing the zoning, one of the things that I encourage when we have these kinds of issues is that the applicant meet with the community ahead of the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. One of the results of that, what could result from that, is some agreements on some things. You mentioned this evening, your intention is to do 1 acre. But in the Planning Commission meeting, we can set parameters and conditions, and if you agree to that and the community said, we might be able to live with that, then we can put that in a condition. When we open it up to AR, which was mentioned, some of the things, driving, shooting ranges, airplanes landing, we've got a whole host in that category. And without any conditions that prohibit going beyond that, we create some challenges, particularly surrounded by residential communities. I am in the area, and there's a house on the corner, I think, of Coastline and Eden. Was that the lady who came up and spoke and said I live directly in front of it? Okay. Okay. Was there a conversation that you ever had before you heard about it with the Planning Commission? Okay. It's okay. I don't want to get into a back and forth. I just show of hands. As I look at the area, there's some recent development in the area, residential. on Coastline Road. And I very much appreciate my neighbors talking about the issues of not being against the program, but certainly the fit. And so I have some very serious reservations about that. I have very serious reservations about zoning changes that open the door to a wider and intense use. And we need to be very careful of that. Part of our mission is establishing a budget, setting your tax rates, Mr. Wilson, and also protecting the quality of life in our community. And so that's where I rest on issues of this nature largely. And some developments are good. Some proposals and land changes are good. That's why we have to weigh it and go through it very deliberately in order to find a good balance. But the good balance oftentimes in the years that I've been doing this are found on the front end and not on the back end. And so I encourage folks to do that when they're asking for rezoning, because we're very active right now. We've got quite a few of these things going on in our community. When I say things, rezoning requests, data centers, all of these things that are impacting our quality of life. I don't want to be a party to having a negative impact on that. And so I'm asking this evening for us to consider our residents who we're primarily responsible for versus individual who has a good program, period, and protecting that interest of a community versus the individual who wants to do something with their property. Those are my comments for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Eric?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions for Piper. Piper, you said, if you go to the mic, you said a 1 acre and one structure, and if you'll, Debbie, if you put up either picture 3 or 4, I think is the best one. Keep going.
And I did knock on the people that lived on Coastline. I knocked on every door to let them know when the thief was on the property that stole $20,000 worth of stuff, then went across the street to steal from my neighbor across the street. So I have had conversations with her doorbell.
No, I want the one that's got the road, that's got yeah, that one's a little bit better. Where are you going to access this property?
It's going to be behind, where are we going to, as in a road?
Yes.
It's going to be between me and the Shropshire property, which that is the cutout right there. Those were the original owners, the Shropshires.
Does somebody have the pointer that they can handle? I can't see
Yes, sir.
that one. I'm
That is
sorry.
coastline.
Yeah.
Does that one work? Here.
That little stretch right there.
Right.
Okay. And just north of that, that's where an old house used to be. There's still a chimney, I believe.
Yeah, the chimney's on my property.
The chimney's on your property.
Yes, that was where they butchered their pigs.
Okay. And then you go up a little bit further north. There's really no access into that property other than the little short piece right there just at the headwaters of Whitewater, is my understanding.
Correct.
Now, I came out there last Thursday, and I drove the entire neighborhood, and I drove all these roads so that I could get a better handle. But driving from the car sometimes doesn't give you the full picture because you can't see past the trees. And quite frankly, I couldn't tell how far back the north line went. But it looked like there was a half a dozen, 8 lots, something like that were going to border the north part of this property. You're not trying to access the property from that neighborhood, are you?
No, when they were going to develop the neighborhood there, it was going to be 16 houses on the property. There was a road that was going to go into their neighborhood, but no, I'm not using that.
Where would you plan on putting the place where you're going to train the dogs?
It's going to be behind the Shropshire's house, so you want me to show? There's a ridge. On that ridge right there.
Do you have any idea how far it's from the property line to where the building will be?
No, I don't. I really don't. They're in support of it, though. There's a letter in your inbox from Aaron Shropshire. They're in support of it.
I don't know whether they agree with it or not. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm just asking some stuff. Now, when the dogs show up there for the first time and somebody opens their car door, and they're going to try to always have it leashed, I would think. That's the way I do my dog. I don't want the dog running out of the car.
They don't get to run around, no. There's a leash law in every state.
So they should have it leashed when they get there.
Correct.
Are they going to be in a confined area when they drive in, and there's a gate there that supposedly keeps the dogs?
Yes, it's going to be double gated just because other people that have dog companies, they usually just have one and they've lost dogs. So it's going to be double gated and they'll come into the building for training.
Are you going to be able to see the gate, you're going to be able to see the fencing from the back of the neighborhood?
No,
How high is the fence going to be?
6 feet.
And is that generally high enough that keeps a dog from jumping over a fence?
Yes,
It's not a deer. A deer's going to go right over that, but a dog
right,
is going to keep the dog there.
correct.
Now, one of the things that concerned me, and I'll tell you, I tried to respond to everybody that wrote me, and whether you were for it or against it. Now, I wasn't always the one that responded. Sometimes I asked Steve to do it or Debbie to do it. There were other folks that responded, but I tried to respond to everybody. And when this first kind of hit my agenda, I started seeing it. I got nothing but things from the neighborhood. And it's like, good grief, what is going on here? So I drove up there, looked at it. It's a wonderful neighborhood. There's a few houses still being built. I think those were mainly on the north side of the property. And I guess there's a couple lots that's on this road right here that we see at the north part that doesn't look like they've been developed for some reason. 2 or 3 lots still there at the cul-de-sac. But it looked like 100+ homes. Every one of the homes looked like $1 million homes. I don't know
Yeah,
what the
they're
values
beautiful.
are.
It's a
They're
beautiful neighborhood.
There were people walking on the street. There were people working in their yard. There were landscaping companies there. It's a nice neighborhood, there's no doubt. Your intent is not to have an impact on that neighborhood,
Not at
I
all.
assume.
Not at all.
Now, to the east of your property is a road, and on the other side of that road, I saw a for sale sign. I don't know how large the tract of land is for sale, but there's a piece of property there that's for sale. Do you have how large that piece of
On
property?
coastline,
Yeah.
I think Mr. Ken, that's one of my neighbors. I think it's like 1.8 acres or 2. The one that he has the for sale sign on?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And
Yeah, there's another one from Berry Good that's for sale too, but I think it may have been purchased.
And driving the neighborhood, it looked like some of the properties there, you could actually look through the property and you could see the train tracks. And
Yes,
so one of the complaints that I fielded with these letters that I got was the noise. Is that train track still in use?
yes. I heard it 2 days ago go by twice.
And I don't know what's worse, a train track that's in your backyard, or if it's somebody's training dogs for veterans. I guess both of them could make some noise, but I would think that the train track is making a lot of noise whenever it comes by. I don't know how often they use it on that. Chuck mentioned that there was some controversy a couple of years ago when we approved in the county a drug rehab place. And I was the one that kind of headed that up. I was surprised to learn that it took us a year just to get state approval to put it here. And yet we've got drug people here in the county. And I said, why are we trying to keep this drug facility away from folks here in the county? I even talked to one of the legislatures. And I guess that law was passed before we had such an epidemic of losing our young kids to it. And so we put it there. And I'm not aware, like Chuck said, I'm not aware of any complaints of that facility. And it backs up to a neighborhood. Now, one of the requirements that we did on that is that we required a fence to be put. And when we required a fence, then we got into well, what kind of fence are we going to put there? I mean, we don't want barbed wire. Barbed wire is not going to stop a dog. We don't want an ugly fence that's got the concertina wire on top of it that looks like a military thing or police. We'd probably want a nice wooden fence, 6-foot fence. I don't know what it is. But would you agree that you would put a fence where the dogs are going to be?
I'm going to put a fence. I don't want to lose a dog because these dogs, when they walk away from this program, these are $125,000 dogs. These are not a $500 dog. They're literally, once they start doing a job specific, they're $85,000 when they finish training with me. Then they go home and they keep training specifically for their disability. So if they have a heart condition or diabetes or POTS, or they're $125,000. Mr. Steve's dog alerts to his, if you don't mind me saying, to his diabetes. Dorian's dog alerts to her symptoms, which is not, you're not diabetic, are you? Yeah, she has strokes. She got life flighted when she was volunteering for us at the beginning of the month. And Brandy, like she said, she's had a brain surgery, so her dog alerts to her migraines and tells her when she needs to lay down before she starts hurting again. My dog helps with disassociation. He helps me find my car. I travel a lot for Healing for Heroes. He finds my hotel room for me when I go into the hotel. I've argued with him before and gotten off on the wrong floor, and he's like, no, this is not it, because he just wants to go lay down. So, I mean, so when they leave us with their job-specific duties, it is a $125,000 dog, so I do not want to lose one at all. There is currently barbed wire wrapped around this property, though, from when it was a pig farm. But you're right, that will not keep anything out of their yards. But I have no intentions of bothering them, because my mother's still alive and she would beat my behind to this day.
My dad bought in Fayette County in 1969 and he built in 1973. That's back when Highway 54 and 74 were 2-lane roads. They weren't 4-lane divided highways, 6 lanes in different places. And yet, I think that Fayette County is probably a great place to still move. We've got folks coming in. We don't have folks leaving. We want folks coming. Folks want to come to Fayette County. My dad at the time, I think Fayette County had 15,000 people. Peachtree City had less than 1,000. And he said, let's put the fence up now. Let's prevent folks from moving in. And thank goodness they didn't listen to him back in the early 70s. And it's not that we don't, that I don't hear folks from the neighborhood. I certainly hear those would be concerns of mine too. Now I'll tell you, I used to be Zach Brown's neighbor. I had 37 acres agriculture land that backed up his property. There was never a problem with his property with my property.
Like I said, we've been out there 6 years without the zoning, and we haven't bothered anybody that I know, to my knowledge. Nobody's called the cops on us. We're not allowed. And I've had 40 people out there with their dogs. We've been cleaning up. There's a giant dump on the property. We've cleaned up most of that. It was nasty.
Piper, the last time I remember seeing you was when we opened the animal shelter. I don't know if maybe we saw each other at other times, but you're like my wife. My wife doesn't want anything to do with Fayette County government stuff, so I very seldom see you. Do you get dogs from the Fayette County shelter?
I do now. Thanks to your county manager.
How do you evaluate a dog to come to the program?
Well, the people that are there, they'll tell me the dog's personalities as well, because it's not always me just going to the shelter. I can do every temperament test in the world. When I first started, I used to get straight from the shelter. I prefer to get them from people that have them at home, because then they can tell me the quirks with the dog. But there is temperament testing where you put a fake hand in to make sure. Well, but most of the dogs that are at the Fayette County shelter are not, they're somebody's pet that they've either lost or just let go because they're not taking care of, or don't want to take care of it anymore. But we do that, and then I'll grab some kids from my volunteers and have them run by the dogs to make sure that they like children, because I'm not going to be responsible for a dog biting a child. You know, children don't have a choice. When they come to work with us, their parents drag them there. So I would be devastated if a child got bit by a dog. So I make sure they all are child friendly. I will not accept a dog that is not child friendly. Cats is, it's half and half, because half my veterans or people that come to the program have cats, the other half don't. So that's about half and half. I'm not worried about. I'm worried about children and liking other dogs and liking people.
One of the things that was disappointing to me when I got these is that folks are scared of people that have PTSD or disabled veterans. And I could not believe that I received those kind of emails. Now, nobody said anything about that tonight.
I think one person did.
Yeah, most everybody said that they were supportive of what you do. Are these veterans going to be coming out there like zombies, walking across people's yard, attacking the kids?
No. 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 So, I mean, they're.
Hang on.
I've got some
Hang
of them
on.
here. So,
Oh, I'll clear the building if I need to. Y'all, please sit down.
like I said, the VA sends them to me. Most of 95% of the veterans that come to me, the VA has sent to the program. So before they come to the program, they have to do paperwork for me. So I have all their medical records. I know what pills they're on or drugs or, medication, not drugs, medication they're on. So, sometimes men do not want to tell me they have seizures, but when I see Depakote or Keppra or whatever, I'm like, oh, he has it. That way I know when he falls out in class that we need to be ready for a seizure. So the VA sends them to me. Then they have to do a form for me. It's called PCLM. I don't know I know the M stands for military, but it's from a psychiatrist. And they fill out this form and it tells you like the risk factor of whether or not they're going to commit suicide or not. But the people that come to me, even though they might have anxiety, the suicide and harm to other, because that is on there, is either in the middle or to the left. And middle just means neutral. Left means you're happy, perky all the time. I mean, I've done it so long, I can tell by the tick marks, who's high risk for hurting themselves or who's not. But the majority of my veterans now, in the beginning of the program, I will tell you, in 2008 through maybe 2012, it was all PTSD, all traumatic brain injuries, like half and half, right down the board. It is not that anymore. Now, PTSD is the least of our veterans' concern these days because we're aging. I mean, we're just aging. So, and out of like Vietnam, my Vietnam vets and the Agent Orange exposure, we help a lot of, one of the ladies that was going to speak tonight is a younger veteran, not Vietnam, but the new wars, and she has Parkinson's. So a lot of my veterans have Parkinson's, diabetes, seizures, or they're in a wheelchair. Mr. Steve is in and out of a wheelchair. I only have one loss of limb. That's not typically, even though you see it in commercials, there's only 267, I think, or 69 veterans with loss of limb, male. Female, there's like 160. But most of the people I help have POTS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, just your disease, MS, lupus, it's stuff like that. And the majority of the veterans that I do help are the Black female. They have the highest homeless rate, and they have the highest suicide rate.
We do these hearings at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. And one of the things that's unique about this one is it's a down zoning, and I believe Chuck said a little bit about that, but down zoning goes from an intense piece of property to a less intense. Residential 70 is, I believe, 1 to 2 acres per house. Agricultural reserve is, you gotta have 5 acres to house. So conceivably, and then you gotta take out the wetlands and stuff like that. You can't build on all of this. And even though you may have 53 acres, I bet you probably couldn't build on maybe 40 of it.
Right.
But if it gets down zoned to AR, conceivably you go from having, or somebody could put 100 homes on this property, down to maybe 8. So down zoning, I don't think we've ever had a down zoning that this commission has not approved, because quite frankly, that's a desirous thing. Generally, it's the opposite. What we've got is, most of the time, we'd have an agriculture piece of property, 50 acres, 100 acres, 200 acres, and the person that wants to rezone it to 1 acre lots, and quite frankly, this board has generally been against that based on the Fayette County land use plan. So anytime you can downzone, I don't remember a time we haven't zoned something on this. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to make a motion with one condition on this, if you're ready for a motion.
Yes, you proceed. Sure. Let me make a couple of comments.
Okay.
Number one, thank you for everybody's participation. Our government works best when we get clear guidance and input from both sides. I'd like for you to, if you're a veteran, please raise your hand in the audience, please. Okay. Thank you. Veterans we might be speaking German or Japanese today or something else if it wasn't for our veterans protecting our country and the job they do every single day. And, you know, if this was a smaller piece of property, I'd be more reluctant to support it, okay? But there's a lot of buffers kind of built into this property. Number one, it's a very steep, rugged piece of property. I mean, there's like 80 feet of elevation change, which is a lot. There's a lot of rocks, there's wetlands on this. It's not an ideal site to build a lot of homes or to do other things on. So, you know, I appreciate everybody's input on this, but you know, I'm torn. I hear both sides, okay, but my heart is telling me, you know, I really want to help the veterans, okay, and there's plenty of room out there in this 50 acres to find a spot that's not going to impact us. Look, if I lived next door, I'd have some reservations too, but this is not a huge facility. It's helping a handful of people once a week each month. That's not a huge facility. So with that, I'm ready to entertain a motion, please. We can't hear you.
I'll turn the mic back on. I make a motion to approve petition 1365-25 to rezone it from R70 to agricultural reserve. The one condition that I want to talk about, or that's part of the motion, is that once the development of the structure begins, that a fence be made around the property, and that'd be the motion.
Do I have a second?
Clarify the fence, Eric, around the property or around the facility?
No, it's just the area that she's going to be using. Putting a fence around 57 acres is a very expensive thing.
That's what I was.
Yeah, no, just where they're going to be containing the dogs. If dogs are going to be running, they need to be contained.
And that's agreeable to the applicant?
Yes, and I looked into fencing the whole property too. You're right, it's very expensive, but yes, that's fine. I don't want to lose any dogs and I don't want to bother my neighbors. So.
And I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or question amongst the board? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor of said motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Item number 4.
Give them a couple of minutes because folks are going to want to leave.
Yes, we can.
And I'm going to have to leave. I'm still suffering from shingles. I'm just not doing real good.
Okay.
But I will leave at about 7:10.
Okay.
7:15.
Okay.
I may miss executive or something like that. But this stuff is just killing me, and I had to do that.
Yes. Would some... Let's take a 5-minute recess, please.